Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we go beyond the obvious to unearth surprising truths and profound insights. Today, we're plunging into a stack of recent discoveries, revealing hidden worlds and, well, the ingenious ways people are bringing them to light.
Exactly. And these aren't just obscure details. What we'll uncover today offers some real aha moments about our history, human ingenuity, nature, and maybe even what our future might hold.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to guide you through these fascinating sources, illuminating the unseen and the overlooked. Ready to dig in?
Let's do it.
So where do we begin our deep dive into the unseen? How about we literally go deep into the past, back to Niger's Sahara Desert? Imagine a place so unforgiving, so remote, that it's taken one paleontologist, Paul Sereno, something like 32 years of grueling expeditions just to scratch its surface.
Yeah, and the conditions, just incredible.
We're talking 130-degree heat, a month without showers, battling food poisoning, malaria, sandstorms.
Right, and even dealing with bandits and government coup. It's amazing he keeps going back.
And yet, he's always eager to return. So what makes Niger so special for finding dinosaurs?
Well, what's truly unique about Niger is its geology. It actually resulted from two incredible sort of chance events. The first happened way back 180 million years ago, early Jurassic period, when the supercontinent Gondwana began to break apart.
Okay.
This created a massive depression right in the center of what's now Niger. Back then it was lush, verdant, and over millions of years, this depression collected sediment and, crucially, the skeletons of countless dinosaurs and other creatures.
Ah, so it was like a giant collecting basin.
Exactly. Then, much later, about 20 million years ago, a volcanic hotspot caused the air massive mountains to rise up on the edge of this depression. And this tilted those ancient layers, the strata, upwards.
Bringing the fossils back to the surface.
Precisely. It means that driving across these rock layers today, heading from Agadez out into the desert, well, it's literally a journey through deep time.
A journey through deep time that really puts the finds into perspective. And it was in this landscape that they found their first major site, nicknamed Sauropod Island.
Right. A local Tuareg nomad actually led them there years before. The Tuareg call it Chinakankaran, which means place of insects.
Place of insects. Fitting, I guess.
Hmm.
Paul's first find there was a huge 50-foot sauropod backbone. But on this expedition, his team spread out and made these stunning discoveries, unearthing 4 more of these massive creatures.
4 more? Wow.
Yeah, and one of them even had a skull, which, as you know, is incredibly rare for paleontologists.
Oh, absolutely. Finding a sauropod skull is like hitting the jackpot.
And all 4 seem to belong to the same unnamed species, which they nicknamed Ipod.
Ipod, huh? Okay. And that find, the Ipod, it really highlights this blend of old and new tech in paleontology now. See, Paul suspected it dated to the Middle Jurassic, maybe 160 million years ago. But dating fossils without volcanic ash is, well, it's super challenging.
Right. How do you get a precise date?
Well, that's where MIT isotope expert Jahan Ramazani came in. And his big discovery was actually pure luck. Happened after a flat tire.
A flat tire, seriously.
Yeah. While the crew was fixing it, he scrambled up a nearby cliff and found this greenish clay, a clear sign of ancient volcanism.
Huh?
He was so sure it had datable crystals, he apparently looked right at Paul and said, "I'll bet my career on this one."
Wow. That's some confidence. So, okay, you've got this cutting-edge geology, but how do they actually, dig this stuff out?
Well, it's a mix, really. They still rely on the traditional tools: plaster, burlap, trusty Land Rovers, even dehydrated food, standard expedition stuff.
Okay, the classics.
But they also have these, lithium-powered drill breakers, electric jackhammers, GPS, digital imaging, drones too, and photogrammetry that's using lots of photos to build precise 3D models. They can generate models of whole sites or single bones, like instantly, in minutes.
Instant 3D models in the desert. That's amazing.
It really is. And the result of this powerful combo. From Sauropod Island alone, they collected an impressive 25 tons of fossils.
25 tons.
In just 3 weeks.
That's staggering, the scale of that. Okay, so from Sauropod Island, where did they go next?
They headed to an even more remote area called Gadoufaoua. The name supposedly means place where camels fear to tread.
Okay, that doesn't sound promising.
No, it's apparently Africa's most famously fossil-rich spot, but super tough to get to. The journey from Agadez was treacherous, basically roadless, and these daunting dunes. At one point, their big dump truck, the one carrying like 1,000-liter water tanks, just sank in the sand.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it turned a one-day trip into 3 days. Really shows how vital those experienced local guides are.
Absolutely. And Gadoufaoua is where they found Super Croc years ago, right? The giant crocodile.
That's the place. This time, though, their main target was a 30-foot sail-backed herbivore called Ouranosaurus.
A sailback. Like Spinosaurus.
Sort of, but this one was a herbivore.
Yeah.
And they found this gorgeous row of blank-like bones arranged like a peacock's tail. It was the first intact bony dinosaur sail ever discovered.
The first one ever. Wow.
Wow.
What was the sail for?
That's the big question. Still debated today. Display. Temperature control. Who knows? But Gadoufaoua kept delivering. They went back to this microsite, basically a slab of exposed sandstone, just packed, absolutely packed with tiny bones, raptors, turtles, fish.
Like a bone puzzle. How do you even collect something like that?
Ingeniously, they used a rock saw, the biggest diamond-covered blade they could get, to slice down into this bone patio. But the truly amazing part happened next. One of the teams submerged a block from the site in water.
Yeah.
The sandstone matrix just softened instantly.
No way.
Yeah, it meant they could free up this incredible treasure trove of bones with minimal effort back in the lab. Paul Sereno said he felt like Michelangelo at first, then like Darwin.
Knowing 1 million bones of unknown species were ours for the collecting. What a feeling that must have been.
Absolutely. A real eureka moment.
Okay, so they're running out of time. 2 weeks left. Where's the final push?
Final site. Jangwebi. High stakes now. 3 years earlier, Paul had checked out this old 1950s paper mentioning saber-shaped teeth found there. They were initially ID'd as Carcharodontosaurus.
Okay, this shark-toothed lizard.
Right. Paul's team found more teeth, jaw pieces, but back in Chicago, looking closely, he realized the teeth, the sockets, they were all wrong. They belonged to Spinosaurus, the water-loving predator.
Spinosaurus, but way inland.
Exactly. First record of it so far from the ancient coasts, he suspected it was a whole new species.
So they went back to Jangwebi this time, hoping for more.
Yep. And their Tuareg guide, Abdul Nasser, buzzing around on his Honda motorbike, led them to what he called a bigger bone field. And there they found a thigh bone as long as I am tall.
Just lying there. Incredible.
And then came the really dramatic moment. Paul's colleague Dan Vidal comes running up, eyes gleaming, shouting, "It's here, the skull!"
The Spinosaurus skull?
Well, the Spinosaurus skull. Bones found in place. The first time in over a century anyone had found that. Some team members actually, wept.
I can believe it. That's huge.
Huge. And just a few hours later, Dan found this weird, unfamiliar, boomerang-shaped bone.
What was it?
Turned out to be a head crest, projecting upwards like nothing they'd ever seen in a predatory dinosaur. Shaped like a scimitar, apparently.
A head crest. Wow. And they used that photogrammetry again.
Instantly. Generated a 3D image of the skull right there on a laptop in the tent.
That's just wild. Any more surprises?
One last big one. Days later, an 11-year-old Tuareg boy, who knew the terrain like the back of his hand, guided them to Africa's first partial skeleton of a Carcharodontosaurid.
An 11-year-old guide finds that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Shows the value of local knowledge.
Absolutely essential out there.
So the whole expedition, the sheer scale must have been immense.
Totally. They returned to Agadez with fossils filling 2 40-foot shipping containers. 55 tons.
55 tons. Double what many expected.
Yeah. Then they hit an unexpected snag. A military coup in Niger put the fossil shipment on hold for a while.
Always something, right? But the long-term picture sounds positive.
Very positive. An agreement was signed for stage repatriation. The fossils will eventually go back to Niger. And it sets up a blueprint for 2 new Nigerian museums to house them, plus an institute to train local experts, paleontologists, archaeologists, museum staff, all run by Niger Heritage, a foundation Paul set up.
That's fantastic. So it's not just about digging up bones.
Exactly. Because this isn't just about, finding cool dinosaurs or rewriting chapters of Earth's ancient history. It's actually about helping shape Niger's future. Think about the pride, the tourism, the educational boost, training a new generation of Nigerian scientists right there. It's helping Niger write its own new chapter using its deep past.
That really is profound. Okay, we've journeyed through deep time, but what about human life hidden away, not in the past, but right now, beneath the surface? Our next segment looks at humanity's hidden homes communities carving out lives underground. National Geographic explorer Tamara Marino literally stumbled onto her first one by accident. Driving through Australia's Simpson Desert, gets a flat tire.
Right near Coober Pedy.
Exactly. Coober Pedy, the opal mining town. Miners there, after World War I, started living in dugouts, carved into the hillsides.
Right.
Why? To escape that crazy 120-degree desert heat?
Makes sense. Natural air conditioning.
And the idea stuck. Today, a big chunk of the 2,000 folks there still live underground.
And this whole idea of living underground or in caves, it goes way, way back, millions of years. Our early ancestors in Africa used caverns for shelter. Over time, they became real homes, but it's definitely becoming rarer now.
Rare? How so?
Well, take China's Yadom homes, carved into hillsides. In the early 2000s, maybe 30-40 million people lived in them by 2010, down to about 3 million. Urbanization, mostly.
Wow, that's a huge drop.
It is. And the Dogon people in Mali, they also moved out of their famous cliff dwellings over the centuries as threats disappeared. There's this climate-focused architect, Pietro Laureano, who consults for UNESCO. He calls the underground world a continuous lesson in sustainability and circular economy.
Interesting.
He says it teaches us a different symbolic relationship with space. And that, quote, "Today we've forgotten the importance of the hidden, the unseen, the underground."
Forgetting the hidden. That's a powerful thought. So if it's rarer, tell us about some communities still holding on to this way of life. Where else are people living like this?
Well, in Tunisia, you have the Imazé, or Berbers. They've carved homes into sandstone for literally thousands of years. Great natural cooling.
Smart. But I gather there were efforts to change that.
Yeah, after Tunisia gained independence in 1956, the government pushed modernization, tried to move cave dwellers above ground, promised cheap utilities, water, electricity.
Did it work out?
Not always. Many who moved found the promises weren't kept. Lots of regret. One 72-year-old man who moved in the 70s said, "They lied to us. They took everything from me and gave me nothing in return." Really sad.
Yeah, that's tough. But some stayed.
Oh, yes. And the ones who stayed have found ways to blend old and new. Like the Hamdi family in Beni Issa. They have 5 rooms dug into the sandstone, naturally cool even when it's scorching outside. They still use these ancient water channels, centuries old.
But with modern touches.
Yeah, their son can rig up a copper antenna to get patchy internet on his phone. And what's cool is everyone in the family, old and young, wants to stay. They even plan to dig further into the porous rock.
Fascinating. Okay, where next?
Let's go to Jordan. Petra. We think of it as ancient ruins, right? But a Bedouin tribe has lived within that sandstone city for over 200 years.
Living among the ruins.
Yeah, sort of bucolic and pastoral existence. Yep. Herding goats, farming right there among the famous Nebatana structures.
That must create some tension, though. Preservation versus tradition.
Huge tension. When the Jordanian government decided to develop Petra as a major tourist site back in the 70s, they displaced about 140 Bedouin families.
Ouch. What happened to the ones who remained?
About 120 families are still there, and they've adapted. They use old Nabatean tombs for storage, ancient halls for their tractors, their camels.
Wow. Integrating life into the ancient city.
Exactly. There's a 90-year-old woman, Raya Hussein Suleiman Samahin. She was actually born in the royal tomb. She has this incredibly strong connection to cave life. She put it really poignantly. Taking the Bedouin out of Petra is like taking the spice out of a dish. You're left with nothing.
Like taking the spice out of a dish. That's powerful.
Okay, another example.
Let's jump to Lesotho. The Hakom Cave. Historically, it was a place of last resort.
Last resort. Why?
During wars in the early 19th century, a leader named Chief Combe led his Basotho people up into the Maladi Mountains, and they took refuge in this cave. Great strategic security.
And does it still offer shelter?
It does. Many of Chief Combe's descendants live in a modern village nearby now, but the cave is still used. It's temporary housing for those who can't afford a home yet, like a 41-year-old farmer named Ntafane, or for people making temporary arrangements.
And the structures inside. They're unique, these domed huts made from sticks, mud, and dung. And there's this symbolic tree, a lakatsi tree, planted 2 centuries ago. Local lore says it wards off lightning.
A lightning tree. Cool. Okay, one more stop on our underground tour.
Last stop, Turkey's Cappadocia. Famous for that volcanic landscape, the fairy chimneys.
Right, incredible place.
And 4,000 years of humans carving caves there, including huge underground cities like Kamaklan and Derinkuyu that sheltered thousands.
Are people still living in the caves there besides in hotels?
Yes, though it's dwindling. Oktay, who's 72, and his wife Hani, 64, are one of maybe 10 families still living full-time in a cave home, and they love it. Natural climate control, they've got plumbing, electricity. They can store crops for years because it stays cool and dry. Checks all the boxes, they say.
Sounds ideal. But there's a catch, I'm guessing.
A big one. Tourism. Cappadocia had nearly 5 million visitors in 2023.
Wow. That must put pressure on the cave dwellers.
Immense pressure. Their neighbors are selling their caves to hotel developers. The Torrens are basically surrounded by construction now. Hanif described the low throb of a drill shaking the floor and trails of fine dust dropping from the ceiling.
Oh, that's awful. Are they worried they'll be forced out?
Deeply worried. Hanif said emotionally, "If we have to leave, we will sell everything and end up living just like everyone else. Living in an apartment is like a jail."
Like a jail. That really hits home. It raises that tough question, doesn't it? What happens when this push for modern progress clashes so directly with these ancient, sustainable ways of life?
It's a conflict playing out worldwide, really.
Yeah. Okay, so we've seen hidden homes. Now, let's shift gears completely. How is science uncovering hidden clues evidence used to fight complex modern crimes, specifically crimes against nature?
Right. We're talking about wildlife forensics, and the need for it has exploded. There's been this huge surge in poaching and wildlife smuggling. Think rhino horn ivory. The prices are sky high. It fuels this illegal trade estimated at $23 billion a year.
$23 billion. That's enormous.
It is, and legal changes actually forced the science to catch up.
How so?
Well, between roughly 2010 and 2016, penalties for wildlife crime got way tougher. Went from maybe a $50 fine to potentially 10 years in prison.
Big difference.
Huge. So prosecutors suddenly needed solid scientific proof. Because sophisticated defense lawyers would just say, prove it. Prove that's actually ivory.
Oh, okay. So science became essential for convictions. Is there a key case that shows this?
Yeah, a big one involved a Thai construction tycoon, Premchai Karnasuda. He was arrested after rangers heard a gunshot and found a campsite crime scene. They had evidence of poached animals, barking deer, a pheasant, even a rare black leopard.
So how did forensics nail it?
They used DNA sequencing on everything. Bushmeat they found, even traces in human feces at the site. Combined that with ballistics from the gun. It undeniably proved his group was responsible. His conviction was hailed as a victory for wildlife and a victory for the rule of law. Showed the power of forensics.
That's a major shift.
Right.
So does this mean the officers on the ground, the rangers, are getting forensic training now?
They are. Historically, officers often had to let suspects go. No hard evidence. Now, the training covers stuff like dusting for fingerprints, data mining cell phones, ballistics, and, crucially, how to properly seal a crime scene so evidence isn't contaminated. Essential for court.
Makes sense. You mentioned fingerprints. Is that effective on something like, say, an elephant tusk?
It used to be really hard, but there have been some groundbreaking innovations. There's this guy, Mark Mosley, a forensic photographer with London's Met Police. He was actually motivated by his daughter seeing horrible photos online of decapitated elephants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he developed something called supraNanomagnetic powder. It's this forensic dust with particles so incredibly fine they can stick to the faintest fingerprint oils, even on porous, difficult surfaces like ivory tusks. And it can retrieve prints for up to 28 days. Much longer than older methods.
28 days. That's a huge window. Has it been used much?
The kits have been sent out to 23 countries in Africa and Asia. There were some early successes, like 15 arrests in Kenya back in 2017.
But. Sounds like there's a but.
Yeah, there are limitations. Fingerprint databases in many parts of Africa are still underdeveloped. Lack of Wi-Fi, mobile scanners in remote areas, inconsistent investment by police forces. So, despite the potential, there haven't been that many arrests directly attributed to it since those initial ones.
So the tech is there, but deployment is tricky. Are there other new fingerprinting methods?
A few. Things like vacuum metal deposition for stuff that's been buried a long time, or these pliable gel lifters for uneven surfaces like pangolin scales. But again, deploying sensitive tech in harsh remote environments is always a challenge.
Right. So if fingerprinting is hit or miss, what has been the biggest success story in wildlife forensics?
Without a doubt, DNA testing, specifically for species identification.
Proving what something is.
Exactly. DNA tests can definitively prove if seized horn is rhino horn, or if that skin is leopard skin, not just, a striped cow, as some smugglers might claim.
Right. Takes away the ambiguity.
Totally. The DNA, as one expert said, is not going to lie.
Can DNA do more than just identify the species, like trace where it came from?
Yes, and that's a rapidly growing area. There's TigerBase, for instance. It's a DNA profiling system for endangered big cats. It helps trace cubs found in illegal tiger farms back to their wild origins, which helps fight the trafficking networks.
Tracking the source. Smart.
Yeah, and they're using genetics in the UK for peregrine falcon cases. DNA sequencing is also being used now to pinpoint the geographical origins of poached pangolins and elephants. The goal is to map the illegal trade routes, identify the major crime groups involved. It's complex work.
It sounds like it. Playing the long game, as you said.
Definitely. People like Mark Mosley, he's now building a gorilla print database. Only has 4 wild gorilla prints so far. It's absolutely playing the long game for conservation.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, we've looked at hidden clues in crime. Let's shift again to different kinds of hidden information. Think about the future of data storage, or even the hidden beauty in decay, or secret messages.
A real mix. Where do we start?
Let's start with data. The sheer amount we create is mind-boggling. Something like 400 billion gigabytes every single day.
It's astronomical. And storing it is a huge environmental issue. Millions of servers churning away, massive energy use, and current methods like magnetic tape degrade over time.
So what's the future look like? Is there a better way?
Well, there's this revolutionary concept emerging. DNA data storage.
Storing data in DNA, like biological DNA.
Kind of mimicking it, scientists are translating binary code, the ones and zeros of digital data, into the chemical bases of DNA, A, C, G, and T. Then they synthesize these DNA strands. The storage density is incredible. Takes up almost no space.
And how long does it last?
Potentially millennia. It's mainly being looked at for long-term archival storage. Think medical records, huge library data sets, stuff you need to keep safe for ages.
Wow. So this isn't for your holiday photos just yet?
Not yet. It's still complex and costly to read and write, but experts think the technology will accelerate over the next decade, upending data storage as we know it.
Upending data storage. Okay, from the future of data, let's pivot to the past, but with a twist. Hidden information revealed by decay itself, specifically the world's oldest color photos.
Ah, the autochromes. Amazing story.
Yeah, back in the early 1980s, a National Geographic archivist, Volkmar Wenzel, found these delicate glass panels from the early 20th century. But many were, well, deteriorating. Their once sharp scenes were getting speckled with these ghostly snowflakes, obscured by halos, changed by time.
And the tech behind them was brilliant for its day. It used a light-sensitive silver emulsion, standard for black and white, but it was covered with this super fine layer of potato starch grains. Each tiny grain dyed green, orange, or violet.
Potato starch, seriously.
Yep. Millions of microscopic color filters. When light shone through, your eye blended the dots, like pointillism, creating this vivid, painterly image, full color.
Amazing tech. But you said they're decaying.
They are. Some suffer from Finnegar syndrome. It's this contagious chemical decay. You can actually smell it. Others have oxidizing silver particles that create these radiant, amoeba-shaped orange blotches.
Doesn't sound good. Are the images just being lost?
Well, yes and no. An image archivist, Rebecca DuPont, had this interesting take. She said, degrading always sounds bad, but the plates are also developing. From documentary objects into a weird science history project. She means the decay itself teaches us about the chemistry, the materials, the science of the time. It raises this question, are the images being lost or just being changed into something new?
Changed into something new. That's a really interesting perspective on decay. Okay, another type of unseen information. Actual clandestine messages being carried by air.
Right. Over the Korean peninsula, there's this unique mission run by guerrilla balloonists in South Korea. They launch these huge handmade balloons filled with stuff across the border into North Korea.
Balloons, what are they sending?
All sorts of things. Items that are either subversive or in short supply in the most shuttered society on Earth, as one source put it. So, biblical tracts, US dollar bills, pro-democracy leaflets, but also practical things like rice, women's hygiene products, even nature documentaries on USB sticks.
Why do they do it? Who are these activists?
Many are North Korean defectors themselves, driven by this. This maroon sort of longing for all they've left irrevocably behind. Abandoned loved ones, landscapes of memory, youth, trying to connect, to share information.
How do the balloons even work? How do they drop the cargo?
It's pretty clever, actually. They use an electronic altimeter. It triggers clamps to release the cargo when the balloon reaches about 5,000 feet. Then the items float down on tiny parachutes. They even track them with GPS sometimes.
Is this legal? It sounds controversial.
Very controversial. There was a legal ban, but South Korea's constitutional court struck it down on free speech grounds. But the launches still cause huge diplomatic aggravation. Activists face police fines, sometimes suspicion they might be North Korean spies trying to stir up trouble.
And North Korea doesn't just ignore it, right?
Oh no, they retaliate. They've been sending their own balloons south, filled with trash, garbage, waste paper, apparently even excrement.
Seriously, garbage balloons.
Yeah. It's become this bizarre tit-for-tat aerial dispute. One writer described this strange balloon war as resembling texts exchanged between a couple in a toxic relationship.
With one partner appealing for connection, while the other replies with trash talk. Wow, what a striking and sad analogy.
It really captures the strangeness of it.
Okay, from hidden messages literally flying through the air, let's shift to more subtle, unseen signals. Environmental signals. Clues about our planet's health coming from a very remote place.
Middleton Island, Alaska. Way out in the Gulf of Alaska.
Right. It used to be a Cold War radar station, looking for Soviet bombers. Now, it's been repurposed as a frontline research station for seabirds.
Where a radar once scanned, cameras now monitor birds. It's a neat switch.
Why seabirds? What makes them so important for understanding the environment?
Well, as wildlife biologist Scott Hash, who's worked there for decades, puts it, birds are a barometer. Seabirds, especially species like kittiwakes that feed near the surface, are incredibly sensitive to environmental changes. They really reflect the health of the whole ocean ecosystem.
How so?
Changes in ocean temperature or currents affect the tiny fish and zooplankton they eat. If those decline, the birds can't reproduce successfully. Their breeding success or failure tells you a lot. Plus, birds accumulate pollutants from the fish they eat, so they act as useful indicators of contamination levels in the marine environment.
So they're like living sensors, and the old radar tower helps.
Immensely. They ingeniously repurposed it into this unique seabird observatory, built artificial nesting ledges on it, installed observation ports. It allows for really controlled experiments, watching birds up close without disturbing them much.
Has this long-term monitoring revealed anything major?
Oh yeah. A really stark example was during the big marine heat wave from 2014 to 2016, often called the blob. The researchers saw dramatic shifts in the seabirds' diets, indicating a crash in the forage fish populations. This led to widespread breeding failures, and then the massive die-off of common murres. An estimated 4 million birds died across the North Pacific.
4 million. Just gone.
Yeah, it was called perhaps the largest single-species wildlife die-off ever documented.
That's horrifying. What was the takeaway from that?
It served as a really stark warning that climate-driven ecosystem shifts can be fast, brutal, and possibly irreversible. A huge wake-up call about how quickly things can unravel.
Fast, brutal, irreversible. Sobering stuff. Sounds like tough work for the researchers out there.
Definitely rugged. The article mentions pooping in outhouses, bathing in pond water, being constantly covered in bird poop and fill guts and blood.
Glamorous.
Not exactly, but it also fosters these incredibly strong bonds among the research team living together in their shared base, nicknamed the Chateau, which is actually just an old military building.
Dedication, for sure. Okay, for our final deep dive today, let's bring it back to history. A compelling story of an ancient secret, a hidden treasure, finally uncovered after 2,000 years.
Ah, the lost Roman silver mine. This is a great one.
It starts with the Roman historian Tacitus, right? In his annals, he wrote this short, kind of cryptic anecdote about some unpopular Roman legate forcing his legionaries to dig for silver in a treacherous mine, somewhere in the vague districts of Mattium in Germany. The mine was eventually abandoned.
And for centuries, scholars mostly just dismissed it. A colorful but unverifiable aside, Maybe Tacitus exaggerated or got it wrong.
Until recently. Tell us about the modern detective work.
It's an amazing story, and it centers on one man, Jürgen Eigenbrod, a 72-year-old former paratrooper, not an archaeologist. In 2016, he was out hunting wild boar near the German spa town of Bad Ems, and he noticed something odd in a grain field.
What did you see?
2 parallel yellowish strips where the grain was growing differently. He immediately recognized them as crop marks, and he knew that core archaeological principle: there are no straight lines in nature.
So he suspected human activity.
Exactly. He got a drone photo taken, and bingo. Clear as day. The unmistakable traces of the defensive double trenches Roman troops commonly dug around military camps. He'd found a 19-acre Roman encampment, now called the Ehrlich Camp.
Just like that? From crop marks. Incredible. How did they know it was from the right period for Tacitus' story?
Archaeologists excavated. They found stuff like a coin of the Emperor Caligula, pottery fragments, that let them precisely date the camp to the 40s or early 50s AD, which is smack in the period Tacitus was writing about.
Wow. Okay, so they found the camp Tacitus's soldiers might have used. But what about the mine itself?
Well, Eigenbrod was convinced this was it. He kept pushing archaeologists to re-examine a nearby hill called Bluskov. It was already known as a Roman site, and the whole area around Bad Ems is famous for silver mining. Just not Roman silver mining.
So he thought the mine was on Bluskov.
He did. And new excavations, using tools like LiDAR, that laser wrapping tech confirmed Bluskov was an outpost used at the exact same time as the Ehrlich camp. Then a Roman mining specialist examined a tunnel running through Bluskov Hill and confirmed it was of Roman origin. At that point, the archaeologists had to basically admit that Eigenbrod had been right all along. Tacitus's story was...
The vindication after 2,000 years. So what was the most dramatic find they made at the site, connecting it all together?
Probably the discovery of pila fasada. These are sharpened wooden trench stakes the Romans used defensively, like ancient barbed wire, to stop attackers trying to climb into the camp.
Wooden stakes. Survived for 2,000 years.
Amazingly, yes. Found in situ, exactly where the Romans jammed them into the ground. They were remarkably well preserved by the moist, oxygen-poor soil, a real testament to Roman ingenuity and ruthlessness.
Wow, but here's the kicker, right? What were the Romans so close to finding?
This is the incredible part. They were digging right on top of, or tantalizingly close to, the main vein of the Emser Gangsig. That's a massive 10-mile-long silver vein. In the modern era, something like 200 metric tons of silver were extracted from it.
200 tons. And the Romans were right there?
Right there. The enormity of their near miss, it's staggering. If they had found that main vein,
it could have changed things for the empire.
Experts think it certainly would have made a difference, maybe helping finance the empire for another 200 years or so.
But they couldn't reach it.
Probably not. The richest parts were likely too deep for their ancient mining tech, and it fits the Roman approach. Tacitus said they abandoned the mine, as one expert put it. If we don't succeed effectively, then we drop it and go elsewhere. They cut their losses.
Pragmatic, if frustrating in hindsight. What happened to Jürgen Eigenbrod, the guy who started it all?
Sadly, he died of a heart attack in 2023, just days after his crucial contributions were officially recognized in publications. But unlike the Romans at Bad Ems, he found what he'd been looking for.
A bittersweet ending to an incredible discovery story. Wow. What an incredible journey we've taken today, really. From uncovering, the towering skeletons of ancient dinosaurs.
And the hidden homes of human ingenuity.
To decoding microscopic clues in wildlife crime. Exploring the future of data.
Reading subtle warnings from our oceans, and even rewriting a piece of Roman history. It really has been a deep dive.
It has, and I think every story we've looked at today, it just reminds us that so much valuable knowledge, so many surprising insights are often hidden just beneath the surface.
Yeah, they're waiting for, human curiosity, persistence, and ingenuity to bring them into the light. Critical thinking is key, sure, but you also have to know where to look, where to dig deeper for those aha moments.
Absolutely. So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? I think it means that whether it's an ancient text you read, a remote island you hear about, or even just the ground beneath your feet, there are always deeper layers, more insights, surprising facts waiting to be uncovered. Maybe right now there are overlooked clues or hidden histories waiting in your own local environment, or maybe in the forgotten corners of your own field of interest, just waiting for someone, maybe you, to take a deeper dive.